Welcome back to this week's review. Another very busy week, more of a frustrating week. 5 positions taken. The frustrating element is that only 4 made the plan. USD JPY long, one of the positions I took later in the week, was invalid. And so this was week 2 of the trade building protocol, phase 2 of the trade building protocol. And I'd started over already due to a high risk position taken 2 weeks back. And because of this invalid position, we'll be starting from week 1 again in this coming week. And so, yeah, phase 2 proving to be, I think, a bit more difficult than I had initially assumed, because, it's supposed to be the low risk positions that are the higher quality positions in the plan. And so I thought it would be easier to follow that. But what I'm kind of just realizing is there are a lot of positions that you are aware of and conscious of, but that you can't take because they don't fit the criteria of low risk. And so, yeah, that forces or results in a lot of bad habits, I think, public to the surface, and presenting themselves in the form of trades taken that you're not supposed to, acting impulsively. And I think that's just, it just shows, I think, the psychological inefficiencies in this process, and uncovers that, which is the purpose of this. But yeah, so these are the 5 positions taken. All besides the USD JPY long met that criteria. In terms of what did I learn this week, liquidity pools, and yeah, that is really just building on top of some liquidity lessons in terms of orders resting above and below highs, and it was just a refinement of how we identify those, how we entry techniques for those, and just realizing that my plan is quite conservative when it comes to entry confirmation. I think there's a lot that I look for. It will never just be a sell limit resting above a high or a low, which I've learned you can take. And so that was just interesting, I think, to learn that you can have more aggressive entries like that. I think it maybe depends on the time frame that you're entering on and the rest of the confluences in your plan. But yeah, what I did notice is that I need to schedule content sessions in the morning or right before lunch, never after lunch. That after lunch slump, I think got to me this week and resulted in Cape Town today. Resulted in, I think, just a lack of focus in that session, in that content session. Yeah, learn that there is much more to uncover within 1 hour ranges. If you want to see exactly what I was talking about there, check out day 22 of 365 of Daily Nugget. On another day, noted that forecasting sessions took longer than normal, and I'm finding that my bias is changing daily. This was with regards to UJ, CAD JPY, and Pound NZD. And then just some questions I was asking was, could this be signs of the market entering a corrective phase? Does this mean I should sit on my hands until the market provides clarity? And I think that's perhaps what I was referring to in, that day 22, where there'll be periods where what's happening now is unexplainable in that moment. And it could be because what is the way the market's developing isn't for, the move on that day. Look, depending on your strategy. If you're a scalper, you're looking at it different. But knowing that I'm more of a swing trader, and so I'm waiting for price to get into high time frame key indicator areas, but still trying to leverage the moves into those areas and taking those short-term plays. Um, I think that's the skill of knowing when to be risk off because the market's unclear becomes that much more important. And that's, I'd argue, what led to the invalid trade taken this week, um, because it was in that uncertainty. And I think in that time when the market was still developing, where I perceived, the trend the wrong way. And look, I say in the moment it made the plan, but uh, it's more about identifying your behavior in the moment and the action you took in the moment and being able to look at it in hindsight and say that, okay, yes, that met the plan, or no, it didn't. And in this case, it didn't. And so I think the quicker I can bridge that gap, um, the quicker I can move out of this, uh, out of being a hindsight trader, being a break-even trader, because it's no use having a good week because we got out the gate really good this week. Solid position that was managed, banked about 1.2%, but then proceeded to give it all back to the market. And look, not all the trades were invalid. It's only one of them. Were they all high quality? Probably not. But that's not what I'm differentiating between now. It's just more what's my low risk, what's my high risk criteria. And so trade is going to meet the plan and still not work out. That's fine. But if I'd actually stuck to that this week, I would have walked away with something rather than a small loss, or on another week, flat break even, or a very small win. So yeah. And then, the last thing I kind of learned was that I didn't manage my expectations and and as a result, executed low quality positions. And that was on the day. In hindsight, the position was actually invalid. And so it goes back to what I was saying, just in bridging the gap between what you uncover in your ASR and the action that you took in the week. And I think all the things I've kind of learned this week from trades I took and, the resultant outcomes have led to my 1% tweaks for the week. The most important thing I need to work on improving this week being the transparency that I bring to my weekly watch lists and the setups taken. The intention of this, I think, is just to not force positions and to ensure that I'm only taking setups in line with my plan. And I think this is just how it just will maybe mean communicating my watch list more on Instagram or TikTok, whatever it is, being more transparent with trades I'm taking, which is something that I've been thinking about doing, but it just didn't make sense at the time, and I didn't want to add more to what I was doing. But I think that extra layer of transparency, and there won't be any fixed way I'm going to do this. I think it's just being more conscious of keeping you guys informed with the trades that I've got on watch for the week, what I'm looking at for the day. If I do take a position in the day, did I execute that position? What was the execution like? I think it's going to help you guys learn or give you that insight into what being in execution mode looks like. But it's also going to kind of just help me be more conscious with the trades that I'm taking during the week and making sure that they align with the plan, because I know that I wouldn't want to communicate a low risk, or not a low risk, but a low quality or invalid position to you guys and then have to come back and be like, "Oh, so well, I took that trade and, I told you guys I was taking this trade and said it made the plan, but it actually didn't." And the funny thing about this UJ trade is I knew in the moment it didn't, but I gave myself an excuse regardless to take it. And I think that's just the the more the frustrating part is that I think I'm getting to a stage where I'm very conscious of my actions, and it's rare that I'll do something unconsciously. Um, but what I'm finding I'm doing now is I'm trying to justify these invalid positions instead of just letting it go and not taking it, because there's still um, an expectation that I'm bringing to these positions, and I'm wanting them to do something for, rather than just objectively looking at it as, does it meet plan or does it not? If it doesn't, then we leave it. Regardless of how I think it's going to play out on the day, it's more about, does it meet the plan or not? Uh, and I think that's what I aim to achieve through more transparency in the day-to-day positions that I take. And then what the most important thing I should continue doing this week is the journaling of missed trades, which I think is providing immense value in the awareness of setups that are present in the market each week. How my plan is or would have performed on setups that or pairs that I'm not looking at that specific time. Um, and it's just, it contributes a lot to just the data that I'm collecting in the background, that just the flow that I stay in. So those are all the 1% tweaks for upcoming week. Look at Alpha Capital for that transparency. You can see same account, equity sitting at about 3.1% order. So practically the same as last after this slightly break-even. And that is the week. Lots of lessons this week, very busy, but I think a lot to build on top of, and excited for what the final week of January holds and what opportunities capitalize on in line with the plan that's coming. Remember, guys, consistency is a choice you make. You start doing the things you know you should be doing day in and day out.